Hi guys, so today's video purpose is just to share a dream that I had when I was like maybe 9. No, I wasn't 9. I was like 11 to 12, maybe 10. But this dream is always stuck with me throughout my whole entire life. I've told all of my friends and all of my family. I'm sure there's people that's gonna watch this and be like, oh yeah, we know what she's talking about. So my dream, in my dream, I was wearing this little sweater thing that it was a purple sweater. I remember sewing things onto it in middle school. I was in middle school, so that's why I remember my age group. And the sweater is what I had on in the dream. And I remember waking up at the very top of a building, kind of like, I think it's the Empire State Building. I might be wrong, but it's basically a building and it has like a small little block at the top, then it widens out, and then it there's a bigger tower underneath it, kind of like a tier top cake. Anyway, so I wake up at the top of on that building, and I see that there's fire everywhere. The buildings are on fire. Never been to New York, just movies and stuff. And anyway, everything was on fire. It was the end of the world. Sorry, my gum. So whenever I saw it was the end of the world, I knew what was happening. So I decided I didn't want to be a part of that, and I was afraid. And I decided to jump off of the building so that I would die. I basically was trying to kill myself. And I jumped, and so how I talked about how there was the little area and it widened out. Well, I fell, but I fell in that extra slab of building that was to the sides. So when I fell flat on my face, and I remember looking up, like just with my head, like kind of picking up my head. I didn't stand up or anything. I just picked up my head off of the ground and looked up at the sky, and I saw this blue flame just shoot up from I don't know where, but it wasn't on the building, and it jumped, and it like jumped, and it landed next to me. So what I did is I grabbed my sleeve, the end of my sleeve, my purple sweater, and I pulled it up so that it would be covering my fingers, and I put the sleeve to the fire so that it could burn, so that I could, I was trying to put myself on fire. And the flame wouldn't ignite the sweater, like the sweater would not ignite. And I remember the flame was blue and it was perfectly controlled. There wasn't like going crazy. It was just a perfect blue flame, and it was blue, like a deep blue. It wasn't red or yellow or orange. It was blue. It was pure blue. And the body, it was like a little robot. It was like a silver in color. It reminded me of a robot, and that's why it was silver. But it was like a little, kind of like a little bowl, and the body was silver or gold. I'm not sure, but it looked like a robot. The flame, however, didn't connect to the silver portion of the body. The flame just floated on top of it. And anyway, I after I saw that my sweater wouldn't turn on fire, that I wouldn't go on fire, the flame told me to get up and follow it. Like, it didn't verbally speak. It was kind of like it put its thoughts into my head. Like, it's weird to explain. I mean, that's the first time that I had ever dreamt of something like that or experienced something like that. Anyway, so I listened. We walked to the front of the building because where I had fallen, it was the side of the building. So the front of the building had this elevator door. And when we got to the elevator doors, there was a group of people there already, and they were waiting. And the flame told us to get inside of the elevator. And a lot of people hesitated and kind of like murmured and said like, why do you want us to go inside of the elevator? The building is burning. We're gonna burn up. So the flame, what he did was, with the people that didn't want to go into the elevator, they stayed outside of the elevator. Everybody else went in. Before the elevator's doors closed, those people that stayed outside, they were like ejected, like just like how that flame jumped over to next to me where I was laying on the floor. That's how they were like thrown off or ejected out of the area of that building, and they just went into the, I don't know, they were thrown off of the building. And so anyway, after that, the doors closed and the flame took us to this room inside of the building. I remember the room looked similar to like a classroom, but an office at the same time. There was tile, and there was like, not tables, but there was countertops like all along the walls, like that, like, and some of them mimicked like desks areas, and there was chairs stacked up, but the room was neat and it was cleaned up. There wasn't like a bunch of chairs in the middle or anything like that. I got interrupted yesterday, but anyways, as I was saying, the chairs, they weren't all over the place. They were stacked. Everything had been cleaned up. So the room, I mean, it was, you could see there was no places to hide, yet the flame said, go and hide. He told the crowd that was in there to go and hide. And although that there was areas where you could like hide behind the stacked chairs and stuff, there wasn't a lot of places. So I felt like the only hiding spots that were even effective had been taken. Everybody went and hid right away, and I was kind of like the last one standing in the middle of the room, like thinking like there's nowhere for me to hide. And I felt lost, you know, like that kid that can't find a seat, an empty seat. And anyway, so I hear the flame telling me for me to hide underneath the one of the countertops. It looks like a little desk area underneath, you know, like the area where you would put your feet and your chair underneath. And in this particular area, there was like a circle. It looked like a vent, and out of that was coming fire, or there was fire coming out of that, sorry. And not only that, but that area is literally like the area that I was staring at as I was standing by the door. Like, it was a little opening that you could see as soon as you walk in. So it wasn't really a hiding spot, but the flame told me to get underneath that area and hide there. And I remember thinking, but I'm gonna get burned because of the fire coming out of there. And still the flame urged me to get underneath. So I listened and literally imagined that pipe or little valve, I don't know what you want to call it, vent right here on my face, and I'm sitting with my knees tucked up to my chest, and it's just hitting me right there, but I'm not being burned. And this fire was red. It was like regular fire. It's not blue like the flame. And the flame looks like it. I can't even. I just remember that the flame looked like a little robot with its silver body, and it came and it sat next to me. It stood next to me. Not sat next to me because I didn't have legs, but Anyway, it was next to me, and all of a sudden, once I got underneath, I saw a bunch of men coming into the room, and they were men dressed in black. They had shields like the police use to control large crowds and stuff like that. And they were all in black, kind of like, I mean, so it was like they were dressed like the SWAT team. My phone interrupted me and said that I had a little space. Anyway, so they walk in. It's a bunch of them. I don't remember how many. I just remembered that they looked in the entire room. And one particular guy decided to, right before they left, decided to come and squat down to the area where I was, looked straight in my face, and then, you know, imagine he's just staring at me here in my face, and then he looks over and looks back and then looks away from my face, kind of like looking, skimming the area, and he doesn't see me, and he gets up and he leaves, and he's the last one to leave. And so he doesn't see me. As soon as they take off, the flame instructs everybody to get out, follow him, and somehow we exit the building. I don't remember exactly how we left the building. I mean, I don't remember walking downstairs or anything like that, but next thing in my dream is we're like outside. We're not in a field, but just a vast area, like an outdoor area. And I remember seeing that there was stones, like hot stones, like coal, and they were all really hot, like they were burning hot. And it was like a sidewalk, not a sidewalk, but it was like a passageway. And the flame told us to walk on the stones. And I mean, I don't remember, you know, if we had shoes on or if we had our shoes off. I just know that, you know, if we walked on that, it was just as bad as like lava and we would be burned. So I just remember thinking these things like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get burned. But we're gonna do it anyway. So I walk through, and I mean, nothing happens to my feet. I don't get burned, like it doesn't hurt. So everybody walks through. As soon as everybody walks through that path, we get to the next area, and the next area looked like a pool. It's so weird. I just realized something, but that's out of context. It connects to the dream. So the pool is a huge squared pool. It sounds like it's small, but it's not. It was more like a lake kind of situation. There was a glacier in the middle. It was really cold. It was cold water, and we saw a shark swimming in the pool, in the water. And all of a sudden, in my dream, I remember my finger had a, what's it called? You know, when the little edges of your finger come off and starts bleeding, the cuticle came off, and I was bleeding, and I was like, no, we're not going in that water. And the flame said that we needed to swim across so we could continue. And I remember feeling a little more more of an intense fear in that moment compared to all the other things that he told us to do, and we did anyway. But I just remember like that shark was gonna get me if I went into that pool. Not only was that shark there, but it was freezing cold. Like I was gonna not be able to swim. And I mean, I don't know, I feel like the flame kind of like had to push me to get in a little more than the other things that the flame asked us to do. So I finally got in, and I start swimming, and I remember like seeing that the shark was off on the other side, and then it like turns around and starts to swim towards me, and I just feel like this fear, like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? And all while this is happening, the flame is in the water with us, and the shark is coming towards me, and instead of hurting me, the shark, I guess, kind of like when you swim with dolphins, it made it to where my hands grabbed onto the fin so it could sustain my body, and it swam me across. Like it finished for me, like it took me over there, it swam me onto the other side. That does not make sense, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Like it helped me swim across the pool. So after that, oh, and also I didn't feel cold. I didn't feel the coldness of the water. I don't remember feeling that. I just felt like normal water, but the water was cold. There was a iceberg in there. Anyway, so as soon as we get out, we come to this field, and it's like a farmer's field, and it was kind of like hilly. You know how regular farm places or farm areas are flat? Well, this was like large hills, not huge, you know, but there was like little places where it was steeper, and there was other higher areas. And you could just see the ground. I think the farming term is tilled, but you could see that all the soil was like someone was preparing it to start planting. But at the same time, there was already plants there, but the plants are dead. Like, and I just felt this sadness in my heart. Like, I just looked around, and the tension in the air and the feeling in the air was like death. Like there was no life in the plants. And I just remember that everybody was looking around. Kind of reminded me of like a school trip or something, when everybody's just going observing and learning. I don't know. So I'm looking around, and I just see the dead plants, and I picked up one of the plants, and it was a dried up strawberry. And I just saw it in my palm, and I was just like, man, like it's dead. Everything's dead. There's nothing. And I looked at the flame, and the flame kind of made me, I don't know, didn't ask me, but the flame wanted to see my hand. It wanted me to bring my hand closer to him. And I did, and told me to close my hand, to close my fist around the dead strawberry. And when I opened it, the strawberry was fresh and alive, and it was the juiciest, biggest strawberry that I've ever seen in my life. And I was so happy. I felt happy that the strawberry was alive in my hand. And then I woke up. That was the end of the dream. And I'm telling this dream because God has been hounding me, literally hounding me to do this video. And I want to say it's been years, and I'm like, why haven't I made it? I'd be making stuff on YouTube, makeup videos and all kinds of stuff. Like, I really don't care about being on camera. It's just that I kept thinking, well, it has to be perfect. Like, I got to put extra effort in it. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I just kept putting things on that I needed to do. Anyway, so many things have happened in my life here within the past couple months that it's just like, no, you need to do it. It doesn't matter what or how. You need to cut it into 2 parts, whatever. I kept thinking I had to go live for this. And I don't know. It's going to be put out there anyway, live or not. And so at that time in my life, I just had experienced a lot of things. I grew up in church, and I grew up saying a lot of things, a lot of
crazy things, a lot of, I don't even know why I'm being so careful with what I've seen, but just, I've seen the devil manifest. I've seen demons be cast out. I've seen demons, shut the door, and, all the things that people think that aren't real, but that really are real. Just, I've seen them. And at that point, I always had fear. Like, fear was one of the biggest factors in my life as a kid, and I didn't want to have that fear. And I always went to bed at that period of my life watching TV, and I would watch TV like 10:30 to 11 o'clock, and every night I just remember that some footsteps would start at the front of my house, and they were heavy footsteps. They sounded like boots. And as soon as they would get to my door, they would stop. They would get really, really loud, and then they would stop. And then they would start again lighter, far, and then they would get heavier and heavier and heavier. And it would just happen like that until I fell asleep. And it would freeze me. Like, I felt like I couldn't even move underneath my blankets. I felt afraid, Anyway, I believe that God gave me that dream to annihilate fear in my life. And it really did. Like, I mean, the flame was obviously the Holy Spirit. Like, that was him. And he was with me through the whole entire dream. And it was so real. Like, I remember the pictures. I remember that, like, I see it in my brain. I see it in my brain as I'm telling you. And I'm so sorry if my video seems choppy. It is choppy because my phone keeps interrupting me, telling me that I have no storage, of course. And anyway, this video is getting done, and it's getting done. There's no stopping it now, because God is putting me through some things mentally and spiritually, and showing me, kind of bringing me back to this dream, like, saying, hey, this is part of why I gave you that dream, and you need to keep it in mind, and you need to share it also. So whatever you're going through, just understand that he's there. Like, the only reason why you don't feel that he's there is because you're not asking him and inviting him to show himself to you. And he can't fully function if you don't invite him in. Just don't be afraid. Fear can be so hindering, and fear can literally destroy somebody and stop somebody from being the great person that God made them to be. And I just needed to share that. So I pray that somehow this blesses you or makes you think. And if you have any questions about my dream, I guess you can ask me in the comment below. I kept thinking I had to go live for this video because I felt like I had to interact with people. And I'm like, well, who's going to watch when I'm on live? And who's going to ask questions? Like, I don't know, and maybe I should have done it live, okay? But I didn't. Here it is. I am open to anybody messaging me privately, have a conversation. There's nothing that I like to talk about more than I like to talk about God. Like, there really isn't. I'm just so, at this point in my life, like, I don't even know how to explain it or how to express it, but it's just great. God is great. And there's nothing in this world that can tell me otherwise. There's nothing in this world that I want more than I want his presence. Constant presence in my life. So anyway, God bless you. Have a great week. And I pray that you and your family have joy and peace. Put on the armor of God. Put on the armor of God. That's a big one. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking because I'm done telling my dreams. So God bless you. Bye.